Hi and welcome to the Crossdressing Lifestyle channel. My name is Sophie Summers, and in today's video we're going to be having a look at 5 possible ways in which you can attach your breast forms to your chest. We are also going to be looking a little bit later on at 2 possible methods for, how would we say, cleaning them and washing them down so that you can keep your investment in the best possible condition. So let's get right into it after the intro. So welcome back. Now what we're going to be looking at is 5 different ways in which you could possibly attach your silicone breast forms to your chest and go potentially braless. Now the method in which you can use is highly dependent upon the weight of the breast forms that you want to attach. Now I've subdivided these particular 5 into 2 distinctive groups. That's 3 methods you can use if your actual breast form itself weighs less than, say, 350 to 400 grams. So in that section of 350 to 400 grams or less, we've got 3 alternative methods for you to have a look at. And now for anything from 400 upwards, and I've used these on very large and heavy breast forms, we have 2 other methods. So I'm going to start off with looking at this particular product here in the first method, which is a body glue, sometimes referred to as Staysput. It's a water-based soluble wash-away glue with a roller ball sort of application here. And what we do is apply this to the back of the form all the way over and let it settle for about 30 seconds or so. So let's show you how to do that. So here we have the breast forms nice and evenly coated with the Staysput, and rather than just attach it to my chest at the moment, what I'm going to do is just use my arm here just to attach it to make sure it works. So let's just pop it into place here, just above my little elbow. As you can see, it sticks quite readily. I've got good contact all the way around the edge because it's quite tacky, and I can give that a good old, a good old wobble there. So that goes to show that this particular product, which is a Staysput, is a very good water-based glue. It's got pretty good adhesion to it. Now to take it off, it's not a permanent glue, so it does come off. It's got at least quite a bit of a sticky residue, as you can see, hopefully here. It's quite sticky coming on. Now to remove it from both your body and obviously more importantly from the back of the form, you just need to sort of wash yourself with warm water and just keep washing it off, and that will remove and protect the back of your breast form. So that is the first option, probably the cheapest one, but I must always reiterate that this is worked up to about 350 to 400 grams per breast form in weight. Any more than that and the weight of the breast form actually starts to pull off of the chest. So the second method we're going to be having a look at. So the next option I'd like to have a look at is from the company called Transform that makes silicone breast forms. It's a double-sided tape. Now this is a double-sided tape they make specifically for their range of breast forms. It says on here basically all the claims it makes is leaves no residue, non-sterile, comfortable, easy to use, and a word I can never pronounce, but hypoallergenic. I think you know what I mean. So let's have a little look at these. Now they come in a set of 12, so 12 pairs in here, and there's 2 kidney shaped sort of double-sided stickies here with a wing on it. So let's take one of those off and have a look at it. Okay, so what I've got here is I've removed it. This is the obviously sticky side here, and on the back of the wings, and now I'm going to attach that to the breast form at the top. So let's try that. I'll just stick that on one side. Oh crikey, it's very sticky. Stick it on one side like that, get it into place, and then peel off the wing on the inside. So that's one. Peel off the wing on the other side. 2, and just speed it up and do the other one. So we got even sticky on both sides. Then peel off the wing and peel off the retention. Now it feels very, very sticky if I'm honest. You can't actually see them on the back here, It might be a little bit difficult later on to get them off, but I think with a little bit of patience you can peel them back off again. Now let's have a look at the most important thing, which is actually the adhesion. So I'm going to stick to the same basic test and use my trusted elbow. So pop it onto my elbow here and just see what's the stiction. Oh crikey, yes, I can certainly feel that. So again, like the Staysput, I think this one feels as though it's more adhered than the Staysput itself. They are slightly more expensive and they're not reusable, I don't think. So that's put on there quite tight, and as I said, I can really wiggle that one around. Now these I've used up to about a size 6 form, which I think in weight is somewhere around about 450 to 500 kilograms, grams. If it's kilograms, I couldn't lift it up, but 450 to maybe 550 grams. So let's see if we can take this one off and see what sort of effort is needed. It was virtually none. I'm pulling it off quite hard. Actually, the double-sided sticky tape has actually started to lift off here, so let's just take that one off and see. Now, I'm always a bit sort of careful in taking them off any breast forms, because there is a potential of actually ripping the back of the forms, but I know with the sort of Transform range they've got quite a thick back skin on their membrane, so they're quite tough. So this is coming off. It's really tough to take off, to be honest. There we go. So that's what it looks like when you take them off. So they're still very, very sticky now. So these are pretty good. Again, they've got their limitations. I wouldn't want to use them on a very heavy form. Certainly anything that's greater than about 800 grams, I think that will be a bit too much pressure on your chest, and eventually the forms are going to slowly work away. But I think if you place them correctly at the top of the form here or on the sides, I reckon you're going to get very, very good adhesion with those. So that's the second option. Now let's move on to the third possibility. Again, I'm using one here by the company called Transform, and they call these a silicone security strips. Now these are marketed as being reusable adhesive gel strips that help hold breast forms securely in place. Now first thing it gets you is when you receive these, they are in a hermetically sealed I suppose pouch. So let's rip the top off and see what we've got inside. Have a little look. So it is resealable if you want to have a look at them and put them back on again. Let it come out. Right, so there's 2 sets in here by the looks of it. On a protective backing. So let's have a look. So they are basically exactly the same sort of size as the previous ones we looked at, which was those double-sided tapes. So let's take the first side off and have a little look. Okay. So, yes, very, very tacky all over. I would keep the protective tab. I've just laid that to the side. I think what I'm going to try to do this time is to take it off this particular. It's got quite a few sort of dimples on it, I suppose, just to aerate. And I'm going to put this on exactly the same size form. Laid it in place. It went on quite nicely and quite easily. And then take the second one off its backing strip. And so put both of those aside because I'm going to want those. And I'm going to put this one right near the end, the tail, like so. I've got that in the wrong place, but it's quite easy to pick it up again and reposition it because I don't want it going over the edges. A little bit fiddly, but it's okay. Now, so I've got both of them in place on the back of the form here, which hopefully you can see. I've got one at the top here and one at the bottom. So again, using my trusty elbow, let's see what the sort of stiction is like. Put those into place. Oh yes, that's a good old pat. I think that's quite, yeah, that is certainly sticky. Again, this is a size, I think this is a size 3 form, so it's quite a small one. I'm actually going to take it off and try. Let's see how easy it is to take off. Very easy to take off. So the good thing about these is they are reusable, and I'm going to put that to a test. I've got another breast form here on my desk, which is a triangular form, which is much bigger. So first of all, let's see how easy they are to take off of this one here. Yeah, it's quite easy to remove. I'm just going to reach over and put it on a bigger form here. This is a size 5 form. So I'm putting that on the bottom. so it's still incredibly sticky. So I can verify that they are reusable without a problem, and stick that onto the top. Now this form is considerably heavier than the previous oval form that I've just had a look at here, and as you can see I've just got them in place. This is a curved, that was a triangle size file, I think it is. So let's just pop that onto my old elbow. Now it's not connected all the way around because obviously you've got more surface area on your chest than you have on my elbow, but again you can see it's pretty well stuck on there, and it's giving it a good old jiggle around and it is not moving anywhere. So we can vouch to the fact that these are very sticky and they are reusable. So I think that's quite a success, and I would sort of retrench on my original statement. I think you can use these up to a much heavier form, probably about 600 or 700 grams. These are very sticky, and the good thing about it is, as we said a couple of times already, just rip it off the back of the form, place it back on its protective bits of film. Let's do that, and I'm sure you can reuse these several times. Be a bit careful when you take them off because I'm sure they're going to rip if you take them off with a bit too much gusto. And then just put it back onto the blue film. I've done this pretty rushed, but there we go. That's the one I've already used, and this is the second pair that you get in the pack. So I'm going to put a detailed description down below with a link so you can see how much they all cost and a little bit more details on them as well. But I think that's not a bad little product there, that silicone strips. So what I want to move on to next is the products that I'm very familiar with for what I would call the heavier breast forms, and by the heavier ones I'm generally talking somewhere in the region of about 800 to approximately 1.2, maybe 1.4 kilograms. I generally turn to something like this, which is the quite famous Hollister 7730 medical adhesive spray. Now this particular product is used a lot for adhering colostomy bags in place, and it's been designed to be obviously very user sort of friendly and good to your skin, but it's very durable and long lasting. That's quite a simple product to use. It's in an aerated aerosol here, and all you need to do is obviously sort of point it roughly about 6 to 8 inches off the surface of the breast form and just do a light coat all the way around. Now I've applied a coat already to this about 2 or 3 minutes ago just to speed this particular demonstration up, and as you can see it's already quite sticky here. Now when I apply breast forms on to go braless, I actually put a bra on first of all so that I can put the breast forms into place and make sure they're in the correct place, pop them into the pockets and just hold them against my breast for about a minute or so, and that helps me if I keep pushing it to dispel any air that may be around the back of them and gives me a very good adhesion. Now what I'm going to do, as I've done with them all, is just to attach this to my sort of, I'm calling it my elbow, but it's actually, I don't know, my forearm more than anything else. I've attached it there and I've just tried pushing it around a little bit. I've probably left it a little bit too long actually. I should have stuck it on a little bit earlier. But as you can see, it does stick incredibly well. It doesn't matter what I want to do with it, it isn't really going to move. And the more you can sort of layer it around the inside of the form and apply it and push all the air out of your chest area, the more it is going to adhere. I've used this for the very large forms. I've actually worn the size 12s using this particular method here. Now when it comes to taking it off, I would never rip it straight off because the glue is quite strong. It's not going to do you any damage, it just gets a bit messy. Now I've taken it off here and the residue will be left on your chest a bit. As you can see here, I've still got a bit of stiction left on my chest here. Now, and I've also got quite a large film of the adhesive on the back of the forms. Now a bit later in the video I'm going to go through how you actually get rid of all the build-up of the glue on the back of these forms, and also a method for actually getting the stickiness off of your body part, wherever you may have, because you may think as though you've removed it all, but believe me, you wake up in the morning and you've got little black patches where the sweat's been underneath, you know, where the glue is stayed if you don't clean it off or successfully. So this is probably the most, I suppose, well-known product. Now over the years what I've done is try and look around for cleaner methods of adhering my breast forms, and the product I've always sort of turned to is, again, it's manufactured by Transform, who specialise in sort of prosthesis and medical grade and cross-dressing grade breast forms, and this is the changeable adhesive pads. Now Transform themselves do a range of adhesive breast forms or self-adhesive breast forms, and they have these pads on the back of them. Now they are replaceable, so what we're going to do is just open up this particular package here and have a look inside at the actual pad itself. Now, it's not easy with these nails, I can tell you. So a little bit like the silicone strip, it's on this blue particular piece of paper here. You get two, obviously, because you get two breast forms. But what I found with these particular ones is that they will fit, if you get the larger sizes, on literally every and any breast form that you go and buy. So you don't have to buy a Transform breast form, you can find any of the ranges you want, and this particular product will work on it. I always say get one that's slightly bigger and you can actually trim it to shape. You know, this one here is actually a size 7 for a triangle form, but if you've got a size 7 oval form, you can get a slightly larger one, a 9 or a 10, and trim it right the way around the edge. Now what I like about them is that you can just peel off one side, peel off the second side if you wish. Again, they've got these sort of nodules on them to aerate, and then you can just place it on the back of your breast form. Now the one I've got here, the breast form, is slightly too small, it's a size 6, but I wanted to give you the idea. So that basically sticks on the back of the breast form here, and it really, you can feel it, it's just so sticky. You know, it's the proverbial to a blanket, and I'm just going to attach this one on, and this is how sticky they are. They are so sticky that this one you can actually see it's been stuck all the way around my sort of forearm here, so it's really durable, and this will last for a long time. Now the nodules in the back are designed to give you a little bit of air in there to make sure that there's no damage done to your own skin there. And in terms of taking them off, again, it's just a case of gently peeling them off. And what I would do is, if I put it, as I have done, attached it to the breast form, I've always put back on the cling filmy area here just to protect it. Now these are quite long lasting products, and the good thing is that if it does actually stop sticking and adhering as well as you'd like it to, you can just peel it off of your breast form and apply a new one. So that's why I like these particular breast forms. They're cleaner on my body, they are more versatile. It means I can put them basically on any of my breast forms. It doesn't matter who the manufacturer is. So that's all to do with how, or 5 different ways in which you can possibly adhere your breast forms. Now earlier I did say about using the medical adhesive glue, the fact that it does leave residue on your body, and also it does build up a little bit on the back of the forms now, and which will actually make them all slightly crusty. So what I wanted to go into next is what we can use to clean your chest if you wish, and also clean and remove as much of the glue as possible from the back of the form. So let's get into that. Right, so you've invested quite a bit of money in these breast forms, and you obviously want to keep them as in as pristine condition as possible. Now there are 2 options. Obviously we had a look at the 7730 Hollister medical adhesive, and it comes with its sister here, which is the 7731 medical adhesive remover. Now this has been a product that's obviously been developed to break down the glue barriers a bit and obviously release it so that you can clean. Now I've used this, it's very good, but you've got to use quite a lot of it, and to be perfectly honest, I think it's slightly expensive for what it does. So, you know, over the years I've found an alternative which you'll be happy to hear is considerably cheaper, and I think it does an extremely good job. And this is the item here. It's called a sticky stuff remover. You can pick it up at most hardware stores. If you can't, you can certainly get it on Amazon and eBay. I think you can, which is where I got the last one of these. This one is, what's this, 100? This one's 100 millilitres, and I don't know how much is in this particular one here for the 7731. Doesn't really say without me having a look. But I find this particular product exceptionally good. It's much cheaper, probably 1/3 of the cost of the 7731, and it's really good for breaking down the back of the form and all of the gunk that gets put on there. So I would definitely recommend, once you've got your breast forms off, if you're using medical adhesive, spray your part of your chest as well. and really rub it all the way around, and probably use a bit of cotton to get that off with, and then some baby oil, so that'll get that all off. Now, as I said or alluded to earlier, you think you've got it all off, but when you wake up in the morning, sometimes where you've been sweating at night, you've got these black rings around there where the glue has actually been. But with this stuff here, I find I get 95 to 99% of the stuff off. It's brilliant, and it's also really good for taking your old forms and all that build up of the glue you have on the back, spray it, leave it for about, I don't know, maybe about 30 seconds to a minute, and then find a fairly sharp piece of plastic and just scrape off all of the glue residue possible. And that way I think you'll keep your forms in a good flexible condition, and they won't get all horrible wrinkly and crispy like I've seen some of them get. So that really concludes our little look today at what we can use for attaching breast forms, and more importantly in my perspective, how we can sort of clean them up afterwards if we do use glue. I hope you found that very interesting. Please smash a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we really do appreciate it. We hope you found that very useful. As I said earlier, I'm going to be putting, whoopsie-daisy, I'm going to be putting all the links and additional information down below in the description, so you can find out a bit more if you wish. So the only thing that remains is for us to wish you well, and as always, stay gorgeous.